Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coffee Time with Brenda and Mary. As you can see, Mary is not here, but today we have a special guest. Our special guest today is someone who brings wisdom, depth, and a beautiful blend of science and heart into everything she does. Her name is Sandy Kruse. She's a registered holistic nutritionist and the creator and host of an acclaimed podcast, Sandy K Nutrition, Health and Lifestyle Queen. She empowers midlife women to redefine aging, to step into vitality, confidence, and purpose through intentional living. She's a perfect fit for our show. She has become a friend. And what I love about Sandy is not just her knowledge, but she is authentic. She leads with her heart, and she's going to show us how brought her journey into what she is today, how she steps into her purpose with wisdom and all the education that she shares with all of us. So, welcome, Sandy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me and that wonderful introduction, Brenda.
Yeah, well, I love your podcast. It's out there and it is beautiful because you are so authentic and there's so much I would love you to share. It's all about doing the work and becoming more of who we are. But first, before we start, Sandy, I would love for you to talk about your journey because I know you speak a lot about your actual health challenges and what brought you into the position you are today.
Sure. I think that we often can fall into a victim state when things go wrong with our lives, with our health, with our journeys. And I think that that is an important step, but then we need to realize that we can alchemize our journeys and turn that pain into purpose. So when I was 40, my daughter at that time, she was diagnosed with a soft tissue sarcoma, which is a malignant tumor. She was 5, I was 40. And then almost exactly 1 year after I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And then 1 year after that, actually, my husband coded in the hospital from a bacterial pneumonia. So I was like, we're not unhealthy people. Like, we're not like, why is this happening? And often there are no explanations. So I searched a lot for explanation in the whys. And sometimes you just can't, you can surmise that maybe this is why this happened and maybe there's some genetics. And that's where that whole science and soul came about in my journey, where I'm like, okay, well, sometimes science can say, this is why this is happening, but it's never the whole picture. And during that time, I needed to do stuff. Like I felt like I needed to act. And that's kind of who I am as a person. I'm like, okay, now I've stepped out of this victim state, this why me, why me, why did this happen? And I would never say, don't be a victim, because sometimes that's a little piece of your journey that you need to be there for a little while, but then you need to figure out how to pull yourself out. And I'll tell you, I met this woman. I grew up Catholic. And so,
Yes, me too. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and during this time, Brenda, it religion didn't serve me. It didn't help me to get out of that victim state. And so actually I saw a shaman, and this is so long ago. So I'm now almost 56. This would have been when I was, I don't know, I probably was around 41. It was probably before my husband had his health scare and after I was diagnosed with cancer. So my daughter and I each had our surgeries almost exactly 1 year apart. It was
Wow.
her second surgery. where they wanted to just ensure that they got clear margins. Clear margins is basically where they go back in where the tumor was. This is the specific type of tumor she had, to
Mm-hmm.
scoop out and make sure there were no cancerous cells left at all in the area. And then that was her second surgery at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children. And then I had my first surgery, and it was October 2010, October 2011, and they completely removed my thyroid because of, and a couple of lymph nodes. So then I'm like, now what? Like, how do I get out of this? Like, why me state? And I actually built two websites. And I built these
Okay.
websites. So my background is my background is in sales, but I'm also an English literature graduate. So I started blogging because I met these amazing women who
Mm-hmm.
told me something completely different than what the doctors were telling me because there wasn't enough research. And I'll never forget this one woman. She so emotional. She
Mm-hmm.
sent a Barbie all the way from Hawaii for my daughter. Like, it was just like
Wow.
amazing people. Like, I got to do more. And so
Mm-hmm.
I never expected to get emotional. Why am I so emotional? But
Well,
emotion
you
is
know
good,
what?
right?
When we're talking, sometimes we're releasing, and that's what I'm doing. I'm holding the space as you talk. So
Yes.
just keep going. You're doing beautiful, and you know. Yeah,
It's
I know
so
you're more than your
logical.
story. I know you're more than your story, but our stories sometimes are the turning points of our lives. And
Yeah.
that's why, you sharing this is so important because there are people who are suffering right now, whether physical, mental, emotional challenges. And this
Yes.
is real. Like, we all have our stuff to let go.
And I think this is just like saying, wow, like we as a family have gone through so
So
much,
much,
but like,
yeah.
look where we are now. Look where I am now. Look where she is now. She's in university. She's thriving, so, and it's just more that emotion. So I built these websites. I've had so many
Hmm.
people contact me. They're like, oh my God, nobody knows anything about plexiform fibrohistiocytic tumor. That's the name of it. And nobody can tell us. And so we built, I now still to this day, I am an
Hmm.
administrator for a Facebook page for this specific tumor. So then I'm
Okay.
like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm out of this. I feel we're thriving as a family. We're all doing well. And I started to delve into, like I said, I saw a shaman. I really got into feng shui. I started to understand energy and how to clear energy, and really delved into a lot of different spiritual practices just to kind of help keep my head straight. And then I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, now I want to go back to college. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, wait a minute, what for? You have a beautiful life. You get to be home with your children. You're so blessed. Everybody's healthy. And you're going back to college at age 46. So I'm like, yeah, I feel like I need to do more and help more people. So I graduated from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. It's not a certification, it's an actual diploma. It's a college diploma. I just want to
Okay.
specify that because
Yes, yes.
a lot of people will call themselves nutritionists, but it's like a weekend certification. This is a college diploma. It took me 3 years. I finished and graduated at age 49 and started my practice and then my podcast right before the pandemic in February 2020.
Okay. So that's, you know what, I always knew that you're very knowledgeable in what you speak of. And I know when there's something I need, I can ask you. You're like, oh yeah, do this, do that, use this. I'm like, wow, okay, great. So it's great to know that that background was, it was a college diploma because I didn't actually know myself. So thank you for clarifying that. So what I love about your story is, one, you saw a shaman like that many years ago. So that, is really neat, and how that the synchronicity of things brought you to that person, and they gave you a different outlook on life. And then you've got this internal pull to get better, be there for your family, but then to educate others. And I love that about you. So then explain how your podcast, because your podcast has really grown. How did that happen?
Okay, you're gonna laugh at this one. Um, my husband and I were sitting there in our family room, and he's like, "You should start a podcast." Like he's. I have to say, he is my biggest supporter in what I do. He never ever kind of said, "Oh, what are you doing? Like that's kind of stupid. Why are you going back to college at 46? What for?" He said, "You should start a podcast." And he goes, "But you're not just a nutritionist." And it's true, because a nutritionist, by definition, people would think, "Oh, it's just about food," but it's not. It's so
Mm-hmm.
much more. It's about holistic living, as in whole, holistic. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, yes, food is a piece of it, but there's so much more. And even when I was in college, we were reading Carolyn Miss, like Sacred Contracts. And we did do the spiritual and the soul side in college, as well as biology, pathology, symptomatology. So that is a true holistic nutritionist. So he's like, okay, so, you know, he goes, "Why don't you call yourself something different?" And he's like, "You're queen. You're not, you're not 20 years old. You're a woman with wisdom to share and everything." And so we came up with that Sandy K Nutrition health and lifestyle queen, because it's more of the, let's share wisdom together
Yes,
at
yes.
midlife. And
Mm-hmm.
and the wisdom encompasses everything: body, mind, spirit, soul, science. It's like all of it. How do we become whole when a lot of us around midlife, we feel like we're falling apart? And so the first recording, I don't even know if it's still there, Brenda, but I literally picked up my iPhone and
Yeah.
started recording on my iPhone. And then I flubbed my way through it. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I need a podcast like a hosting platform, and I need this and I need that. Because I just started researching. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
make enough money in my business to have somebody do all this for me. Now there's people out there that will start your podcast for you. So in February, it'll be 6 years, and I still do everything myself because I still am passion over profit. So I'm like, well, since I already know how to do this, I'm just going to
Yeah.
roll with it and keep doing it.
That's perfect. Well, it's very interesting because as you need things, don't you find that the universe, or you just learn it, but it's getting more information. So you're not just learning about everything, but you're also learning how to run a podcast. So what I love about you, and a lot of my clients are like this, I tend to gather light workers and old souls, and what I love about them is, no matter how they are, their lives can be traumatic, the darkest days of the soul, but they have this resilience that I'm going to learn it. Like, we never stop. It's like, yeah, there might be a block, there might be something in our way, but we'll go around it, then we'll face it head on, and we'll learn about it. But there's always the information will come to move through that next stage and that next stage, and we're constantly growing. And what I love about your podcast and just about you is that you'll interview people and you'll promote them. But what I'm starting to really love is you're starting to promote, not promote yourself, but you're starting to do more podcasting about you, because really you are the energy behind your podcast. And you are so knowledgeable, and you have interviewed and brought so much information to the public. And now I just have this, like, when I see you, I just see you shining into this beautiful woman, wisdom, queen. There we go. Here I am. So, what do you feel like your next steps are with your podcast, with your growth? And have you come into any recent obstacles that you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't want to go to that next level?
No, I feel like, well, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason, and then it's up to you to figure out how to navigate that, like
Mm-hmm.
how to alchemize it, whether, and we label things good, bad. And, I, okay, me and my kids, we used to love the movie Stuart Little. Do you remember Stuart Little, the little mouse?
Yeah,
That
little mouse, yes.
Yeah, and he would talk about silver linings. And
Mm,
so often we don't see it, and we're so clouded in our pain that we don't realize that that's that light. And so one of the things that I have learned actually from you is often I would get some really highly prolific whatever guests, very, very well known in the industry, mostly in the US. And these guests were, they had such a name behind them. And I was like hiding behind that. And the one thing that I realized is, and I realized this from you, is like that show is me. I created
mhm.
that. And I created the platform for those guests. And a lot of what they speak about it from just the science. And I'm like, people want more now. I don't
Yes.
care if this doctor has, you know, 50 published studies behind his name. And because I can recite those studies myself in my podcast, but at the same time, speak to it from a perspective of a woman age 55 going through or gone through menopause without a thyroid gland, which adds an entirely different twist to menopause, and
Mhm.
give my experience and insight, which is like really powerful because people don't want to see perfection anymore. People don't necessarily care about all of these letters behind that doctor's name. They want to hear it from somebody who's speaking from the heart, who's saying, okay, well, here are the published studies, but
Mhm.
let me give you a different take on this. Because there's a
Yeah.
whole spiritual connection to why you're feeling this way, and that's why I love interviewing people who have that that soul and that perspective that health is not just what's on paper, and health is not the same for everyone. So if I provide
Yeah.
you with all these different, you know, tools, let's just say, you can
Mhm.
say that resonates, that resonates, that resonates, as opposed to one big scientific study that a lot of these experts will be like, just because it says this, it's for
Mhm.
everyone. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not true.
Yeah, we're all so unique. So what works for one person doesn't for the other. And that's what I love is you're kind of giving it out there and say, hey, people, put it through your heart center, see what works for you, try it, see what works. It's not, it has to be this. You are putting out the information out there in a really great way that's understandable. And you really do, I can tell, you do a lot of research. You know what you're talking about. It's not like you're just sitting out there and you just got something and you're reading it. You know your stuff. And I know my stuff when it comes to what I do, and you know your stuff. And when I need something that you need, I know I can ask you and it's going to be there. But what I also really want to bring into the center here is since I've known you, I have seen you just open up, and you're already perfect where you were, but I see you just blossoming into it's like everything you've done has brought you to this beautiful person that's ready to just blossom into the next step. And why I have you on this show today is to show people like that we can all come from a state of victim mentality through our traumas, through our sicknesses. And I understand there's a lot of people suffering right now as we're starting to purge the old traumas and the belief systems. But there are people like you that can help. There are people like me that can help. But it really comes to taking that step, that initiative, saying, I'm not a victim anymore. And I was, and it was okay. But we can bring back our power, and you show how to do that so authentically, which is just so beautiful.
Thank you. And, you know, it's kind of neat because one of the things that obviously a lot of this has come with conversations with you, and I'll be like, one day I'll be driving in my car, and this is, you and I talk a lot about inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be that I'm driving at night, and this is one of the podcasts that I'm putting out soon. I'm driving at night and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to drive at night anymore. Ooh, right? And then it'll start to go, and I'll be like, why am I like this? What happened to me? I never used to care about this stuff. And then that's usually what will dovetail into a new podcast episode where sometimes I'll have somebody on with me, but lately a lot of times I don't, because I'm like, okay, let me dive into this because I know I'm not alone. I know people who are 55 who no longer drive if it's raining outside and it's night. And so why is this happening? I know there's a physiological scientific explanation, but what else? What else is it that's going on? And so that's usually how I've been coming about new episodes lately, which then I'm inspired and I'm excited because I'm like, okay, ladies, you are not alone in this. This is common. Let's talk about it and let's see what the scientific reason is and what we can do about it.
Neat. Yeah. So you
neat.
do a lot of work with redefining aging, right? Just kind of doing aging naturally and really owning it and things like that. It's funny because I've never been scared to age, and I personally don't do anything. You know, I eat pretty clean. I exercise moderately, and I meditate every day and do my work. But when a lot of people will be like, we have to do this, and this. And you kind of give a bunch of information, say, hey, yes, aging, but you're aging gracefully, and you're very, very authentic about your aging and very open about your age. What'd you say? You're 56? I'm 53.
January. Don't give it to me yet.
Yeah,
Almost.
okay, 50, okay. So I'm a January baby too. So, I've never been embarrassed about my age. It
Me
is what it
neither.
is. And I just said, I believe age brings wisdom. It's bring all those life experiences and all the things we've gone through. Just, what are it's an honor to have gone through them. I always look at my past and I look at your past as it's an honor that we went through that, because we wouldn't be who we are today without them. Right? And we're going to continue to grow and evolve as we all are. but it's by taking that life by the horns and just, you know what? Yes, we're going to get some bad stuff, some good stuff, and it blends all together. But that's your unique journey, which is so beautiful. This is my unique journey, which is so beautiful. So I love that you're owning your journey and that you're sharing it with the public.
The big thing too, Brenda, is I love that you said that about you're not afraid of aging. So what's happened in our world is things have kind of changed, right? Like, I know that your European background, and like for me, for example, my parents are both old school Croatians, right? And back in the day, the elders held so much wisdom. And if you even look at longevity and the blue zones, the elders are a huge part of that community. Whereas somehow in North America, it's like, unless you're biohacking and doing all this, and then, and I'm not slanting anybody for doing whatever they feel that they resonate with, you do you. But I'm just saying, it's like, okay, well, now we have to be afraid of being thrown into an old age home, or, like, it's like, let's just put the elders in, a home and forget that they're there, as opposed to being part of the community, which contributes
Mhm.
to that longevity and that vitality and that soul. And you inspire the younger people in your life. And so I want to contribute to that. Let's go back. I know we can't go backwards, but let's go back to that a little bit, like having
Yeah.
that respect.
Yes, bringing that respect for aging. Hey, to be honest, okay, I don't have a problem with aging, but there's something about gray hair I still have a problem with. I don't know why, but one day I see myself have beautiful gray hair, I'll own it. I just not quite there yet, but
But that's okay. And you know what? This is why I'm always like, listen, if you want to go and get that facelift, do it. But make
yeah,
sure that the inside
that's right.
is
Yes,
healthy. So you're not doing it for other people. You're doing
that's
it
right. For
in
yourself.
you're doing the work inside first. And let's say you go, yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Or yeah, like, so for me, sure, I highlight my hair. I ended up taking off my gel nails. It's gonna be 2 years in March since I did that,
Hmm.
because I saw that it was contributing to inflammation in my body. And I'm like, ugh, it's time to stop that. I don't need that. So it's kind of like, pick your poison, right?
Yeah, that's right. And the things I think as we're moving into this new energy on Earth, we're actually being kind of guided internally, what is good and what is not so good for us. And we're just kind of naturally navigating. So it's lovely to have your podcast out there. And I really highly suggest people to go and check her out. You're on all the platforms. I know you're on YouTube, you're on all the platforms out there. You're on Instagram, you're on TikTok. This girl's out there. And I will say something to all of you. I know having a podcast is lots of work. I mean, me and Barry started off as a fun project, and we're getting up there, and it's fun. And we get to meet new people, and we get to talk. But I will say, Sandy, I see how much content you put out, and I know the energy that goes into it. And I have to say, like, my hat's off to you because you are in it. You are in it. It is who you are. And I just keep shining that beautiful, authentic self and keep promoting what you're doing. And I would love to see more of you. because you're shining so bright, and it's beautiful to see someone who's gone through so much to really own who they are and shine it so brightly. Thank you for joining us today. Is there anything else you want to say about your journey, about what your next steps are, how to contact you?
Yeah, sure. I just, the one thing I do want to say is, and this is probably the most important thing for anyone, midlife women, men, we often are finding that we are kind of giving our energy all away, all over the place because of social media. So, with technology, there's definitely pros and then there's cons to it. And
Mhm.
what I have found is that we will often put celebrity or large podcasts or voices on a platform. And we think, oh, because they say that, it must be right for me. Because they say that the science says it must be right for me. So if there's the one biggest takeaway, I'm going to say we must learn to tap into ourselves. And Brenda helps a lot of that because a lot of times things will cloud that and we just don't know. So we're like, I'm going to get this from this person, this from this person, this from this person. And it's like you haven't even taken a moment to tap into what does my body think about that?
Mhm.
How do I feel intermittent fasting? Does it make me feel better or do I feel really anxious and worse? So, if there's anything you take away, don't listen to what Brenda is saying. Don't listen to what Sandy's saying. Don't listen to what this giant podcaster is saying or this person with all these letters. Listen to me first. Turn inward first. And I always
Yes.
say that even like I remember hearing this one guy talk about this just relating to marriage. You know,
Hmm.
often even when you're having problems with your relationship and everything, people will turn out, right? You're looking outside for all these answers instead
Yeah.
of turning in. So turn into yourself, turn into your partner, turn into the people that are closest to you. And there's nothing wrong with getting that information because obviously I want you to listen to my podcast. I want you to listen to Brenda's podcast, right? Like I want you to do that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
don't forget that you hold the most power, not
Absolutely.
anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And I actually learned that so much from meeting you and I was also doing the same thing that a lot of other people were doing, trying to get all these answers from everyone else. I'm like, darn it, I forgot about myself. I'm the one that
Yeah.
has to see if
The
this is
answers are
right.
within. The answers are within.
Yeah,
And
so
I do notice a huge change in you from doing that. You know, it's communication from within. It's listening to your intuition, taking time to self-reflect, doing the work, learning about yourself. You know, I see you put that into play beautifully. And it's such a pleasure to watch you just move into really own who you are. It's beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much for having me. I kind of went off on a tangent
That's
there,
all right. That's all right.
but
It's a
but
nice little,
it's Sandy K Nutrition everywhere. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Rumble. I don't know. Somebody told me to put my stuff on Rumble. I don't even know what Rumble is. Um, but LinkedIn, you can connect with me there if you know you want to talk more business. I'm there. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Threads. So just Sandy K Nutrition everywhere. And my podcast is on all platforms. And if it resonates with you, you can share it with a friend, because that's a big reason how we grow, right? We share with other people what resonates with us.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. It just came to my mind. Do you offer a discovery call? Like if someone wanted to talk to you directly, is there an email? Do you do that?
You know what? I do very selectively.
Okay.
And I am a practitioner. I actually just renewed my insurance
Okay.
and my association. So technically, I am a practitioner. I'm just very selective.
Yes.
What happened was I was working with women for 3 months at a time, and it
Okay.
became extremely, intrusive on my personal life. I would get texts at 10 o'clock at night, and I found that I needed to put boundaries around that. So, and then I
Okay.
found that working with people on a shorter term, it wasn't helping them deep enough.
Got it.
So,
Okay, I understand.
yeah, but by all means, I am certified in functional lab testing, so I
Mm-hmm.
understand labs. I never give
Okay.
medical advice. I'm certified in endocrinology and hormones, functional nutrition, peptides, and anti-aging. So I have a lot of extra certifications that I've done. So you
Yeah.
can get in touch with me, Sandy at sandyknutrition.ca, and we could see if it's a match.
Okay, because I was just saying, we just put you on this beautiful, and I'm thinking, say someone says, I want to work with Sandy, what do I do? So you just answered the question, so thank you. It's a possibility, but I understand there's a lot of time and investment getting the information out there. So I'll say, watch her, watch her, watch her. She's got so many episodes about so many different things. And you've been doing this for 6 years, so there's a lot of content out there.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for showing up and joining us on Coffee Time. All right, everyone. Hope you really enjoyed Sandy. She's so lovely. Really check her out. You'll love her. Thank you for joining us.
If you have any questions or comments, visit us at sobrilliant.ca.
Sending you lots of love and light. Until next time.